Good morning, Agents of Nothing, and welcome to our Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. podcast. We're your commanding officers. I'm Mariah.
And I'm Caroline.
And today we're going to be talking about Season 5, Episode 12, The Real Deal.
Yeah. So, Mariah, how was your week?
It was really good. My sister had her baby.
Yay! Congratulations, Megan!
Yeah. This is her fourth. She had her tubes untied because she wanted a big Catholic family. And so, welcome to the world, Eliana Margaret Mary.
Aw. What a beautiful name. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I'm going to call her Ellie.
Cute. You know, if Megan does anything, she comes up with some really great names.
Yeah. Yeah.
She's good at that. Well, very cool. Congratulations.
Yeah. We were all expecting her to do another D name because her husband's name is Daryl and her 3 kids, 3 out of the 4 now, are named Daphne, Delilah, and Dean. And so when she came out with Eliana, I was like,
what?
Okay.
Favorite child incoming.
Oh. So how was your week?
Mine was good. Not that good, but my my band played our first show as a band last night.
That's great.
So it was good. In case I haven't said it on here before, we're called The Benefit of Doubt. And you can find us on Instagram at The Benefit of Doubt Band. And we have some videos of our performance will be posted on there. So, but yeah, it went really well. It was this like house party, and so it was really cool because it was like this like community of musicians that I've kind of been on the outskirts of for a while, but I got to really kind of be in it last night, which was really fun.
Wow, that's so cool.
Yeah. So.
I'm happy for you.
Thanks.
Right.
It was not my best vocal performance, but, a good starting point. It's weird to have people actually paying attention to what you're singing when you're used to, like, open mics and coffee shops and stuff like that, where people have their headphones on and they're not paying attention to you at all. Yeah. So to go from that to like a house full of people staring straight at me and listening to every word was pretty nerve-wracking.
Yeah, I imagine. I can't, well, yeah, I think I've only ever performed when people were like not paying attention. Like I used to, not to make it about me.
Yeah.
But as you know,
yeah.
When I was a teenager, I used to perform at like festivals and stuff. Not like cool festivals, but like craft shows. And like unfortunately, because I live in the deep south, I did perform at a lot of plantations. Please don't hold that against me. I was 16.
Yeah. We've changed and grown since then.
But yeah, no one was ever paying attention to me except for like my parents.
Right.
And even then, like usually my mom would be working. Her side of the family owns a catering business, so she would usually be like in their booth selling food.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah,
I understand, but I can't relate.
It is different for sure. But we got one under our belt, and so now I know I can do it, and we will only get better,
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Look at you go.
Look at me go.
Doing exactly what you went to the city for.
Finally, 5 years later.
Hey, it takes time.
Yeah. I had to meet all the right people. But Anyway, let's get into this episode.
All right, what an episode.
An episode.
This episode was written by Jed Whedon, Marissa Tancharoen, and Jeffrey Bell, and directed by Kevin Tancharoen.
Oh. He was like,
We've got,
I gotta
like, the
be in
whole
this
team.
somehow. It's our parental polycule.
Yeah. And Uncle Kevin.
He can't be part of the polycule.
Yeah, his sister's in there.
I guess. Anyway, sorry.
So this is Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.'s 100th episode.
Wow!
So, in December 2017, Marvel revealed the Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. The Road to 100 art program, which was created to commemorate the episode. It features 5 posters, one for each season of the series, representing key pivotal moments of each season. The art was also featured as variant covers to select titles published by Marvel Comics in March 2018. Megan Thomas Bradner, Vice President of Development and Production, Live Action at Marvel Television, said that commemorates these creators, the actors, the characters, and 100 amazing stories, and called reaching 100 episodes quite a feat, and it felt special enough to share with the fans that got us here. By working with some of our favorite comic artists, we felt that we could show a large variety of meaningful moments and the characters that helped us get to 100.
Wow.
The first poster, created by Dale Keown. Keown?
Sure.
That's what I'm going to say. That's how it's spelled. So, highlighted the series' first season. It features 4 panels showcasing the moment Coulson and Grant Ward approach Skye in her van from the pilot. Coulson learning that he was revived from his wounds by the Tahiti program and a drug from a half-dissected Kree alien corpse. Grant Ward killing Victoria Hand and revealing himself to be working for Hydra. And Fitz giving Simmons the last remaining oxygen tank while declaring his love for her in the season finale. Oh. By the way, I have all of these in the drive.
I'm looking at them now, yeah.
Yeah. The second poster was created by Daniel Acuna and highlighted the second season, particularly Coulson writing the Inhuman map on a wall. Johnson coming out of her Terrigenesis cocoon, the S.H.I.E.L.D. team, Bobby Morse, Lance Hunter, and the Real S.H.I.E.L.D. logo. Oh my god, remember the Real S.H.I.E.L.D.?
Real S.H.I.E.L.D.
And May cradling the diseased body of... deceased, sorry. And May cradling the deceased body of Katya Belikov in 2008. The third poster, created by Nick Bradshaw, depicted the third season. The poster shows the S.H.I.E.L.D. team and Hive, along with the Hydra logo breaking the S.H.I.E.L.D. logo and its tentacles covering much of the poster. Specific moments highlighted include Fitz and Simmons after she has been pulled from the portal to the alien world Maveth, Coulson killing Ward on that planet, and the formation of the Secret Warriors. For the fourth season, the poster, created by Raza, displayed the introductions of Ghost Rider, life model decoys, and the framework reality. Jeffrey May sacrificing himself in the framework, and Coulson's kiss with the May LMD. The fifth poster, displaying the fifth season, was created by Stonehouse. It featured Cassius and Sonara flanked on either side of the poster, the S.H.I.E.L.D. team and Deke in the center in front of the destroyed Earth in the future, and Fitz reuniting with Simmons.
Aww. I like that fifth one. That one's beautiful. Very cool. I can't believe we've been doing this for 100 episodes.
I know, right? I did
That's
have that
crazy.
thought. I was like, wait, that means... That means...
That means... What? Should we have done something for this episode?
Oh my god. Maybe we should have, like, planned a trip. Oh, now that I, got the job.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah. Yeah, we can plan a trip now. Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
By the time this comes out, I will be able to be talking about it publicly. So yeah, I got a job, permanent position at Walmart, just what I wanted.
Yeah, oh, good. Oh,
Okay.
well, very cool. The posters are all beautiful. I assume we will post them somewhere.
Yeah. All right.
Okay. So, no new characters, as we said. Just our old faves.
Yeah.
So we start off, I assume we are being flown through the wreckage that Noah tried to save Daisy and Fitz from. I thought that there was something wearing a nun's habit that was like hiding behind some of the wreckage, hiding from the drone.
I think there definitely was a nun.
Okay.
She didn't come back, but there was a nun.
Okay. I was like...
You did not imagine that.
Cool. Anyway, so then the drone gets knocked down, and then some insane, disgusting monster picks it up, and I hated it. I completely forgot about Lash. And then we get a montage of all of the logos so far, which was really cool.
Yeah, so for the real deal, the 100th episode of the series, instead of the normal title sequel... For the real deal, the 100th episode of the series, instead of the normal title sequence of the season, the series title featured a montage of all the title cards used throughout the series by the episode's airing.
So cute. We love it.
Yeah.
And then I love when Fitz does math. He just wrote his one little number on the board and then walked away from it. That's how I do math. May and Coulson have come to check on him since the explosion. He says that he's fine, but now they have new problems, obviously. Because of course they do. They can't get a fucking break. That would be insane. These writers are sadists. I'm sorry, Mom and Dad, but you are. Fitz explains that while the basement is sealed from the wreckage, Fitz sent his dwarf drones down to check it out. And one of the things is on, was it level 27? I wrote that down, but I don't know if that's right.
I think so. I don't know. I don't remember.
Cool.
That sounds right.
Level 27 of this underground bunker, there is a full-on forest with like a sky and clouds and a babbling brook running through it. And then in the basement, I guess nobody but us saw the nun, or Lash, but or at least at this point. But he did see the rip in reality. Apparently, exploding a triolith creates a portal through space-time where people, places, and things from other realities can just come on through at their leisure.
So, this was from IMDb. The space-time rift looks like the one on Amy Pond's bedroom wall in Doctor Who.
Oh.
Which it does. I do remember that.
How cool. Oh my god. Crossover? Just kidding. It could.
Oh my god. Simmons would, like, cry.
Okay, so Coulson says that the good news is that Daisy may not be the one who causes the end of the world after all. But the bad news is that the end of the world may have already begun. And it's all General Hale's fault. Simmons has gotten Yo-Yo stable and as comfortable as she can. And Yo-Yo is still feeling her phantom limbs, which sucks. She says that her fingers feel like they're on fire. But there is not much that Simmons can do about that until Daisy comes back with supplies. Mac comes in to check on her, and he just can't help but get angry on her behalf. He says that they made it back from that fractured future just for her to get butchered. And I noticed something coming up for me in this scene that I should probably bring up in therapy. But but I don't think that that's what's happening, so I'm gonna just let it pass. Anyway, so Max says that he only cares about her, that she is the only world that he cares about. And so if she said the word, he would carry her out of here and take her anywhere she wanted to go. But Yo-Yo says that they have to stay and fight. Everything she heard from her future self is coming true faster than she thought possible, so they can't leave yet. Because Yo-Yo is nothing if not loyal.
Mm-hmm.
Daisy and Deke are looking through the storage rooms, trying to find medication for nerve pain for Yo-Yo. And Deke finds some orange-scented aerosol spray, and he gets very excited. And then very surprised when it tastes vastly different than it smells. And he shares that while it was extremely difficult to find fresh fruit on the lighthouse, on his birthdays as a kid, his mom would always get him a big, juicy orange. And Daisy, like a jerk, barely reacts. So Deke asks what her parents did for her birthdays, and she said nothing. And he jokes that she must have just had bad parents then. And she says, actually, I grew up in an orphanage with mean, scary nuns. Hence, the nun. And Deke apologizes for his bad joke, because obviously how would he have known that? But he says that sometimes when he's a jerk, it's on purpose because he thinks it's funny. But this time, it was an accident. He was just trying to connect with her. He thought that they were having a moment.
I loved that line. Like,
yeah.
I love the honesty.
So, yeah, sometimes I know it. I'm doing it on purpose. But not this time. Yeah. But, as always, Daisy denies that they were having a moment just before the moment gets interrupted. And then a fucking creeper appears and attacks them, and after a brief fight, Daisy shoots him, and then he dissipates like smoke, which is honestly even more unsettling than it just showing up.
Yeah, I really didn't like that they could, like, they very much demonstrated by Deke getting cut by the creeper's, like, blade. Yeah. Like, these things can hurt you.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah, that sucks. So it's not just your fear. It's your fear very physically manifesting.
Yeah.
Fitz's theory is that the rip in space-time is a portal to a fear dimension, that it can read your mind, basically, and manifest your fears into a physical form, which is terrifying.
Yeah, to say the least.
So, the creeper, Lash, obviously I forgot about Lash in the beginning, and then the beautiful forest is part of it as well, because Deke is afraid of the forest because of the infinite expanse of trees and bugs and unknowns. And you know what? Valid.
Yeah, he's never experienced one before, and even if he had, I feel like he'd still freak out.
Yep.
He's never experienced that before.
And you know what? Honestly, like, forests in, like, the Appalachian Appalachian forest, fucking, they're, like, There's all kinds of cryptids in every culture. Like, nobody knows what's in the forest.
Yeah.
It could be anything. And he's valid about the bugs, too.
Yeah. Yeah, the bugs are the biggest thing for me.
I'm just standing there, minding my business, hugging a tree, and then suddenly I got ants biting my ankles. Come on. I wasn't even standing on your shit, dude. Anyway. This also explains the nun, because that was Daisy's childhood fear. I don't know why the nun never came back.
I know, I guess... I don't know. Maybe they didn't want to... Maybe they thought the nun just, like, wasn't scary enough compared to, like, the Kree and Lash.
Or like... I don't know. Well, because everything else was like something that they fought as a team. And so the nun would have been just something that was like only Daisy's fear, maybe?
Yeah. And maybe it just didn't fit into the script.
Yeah. Maybe they put it in at the beginning and then they were like, eh.
Because, I mean... Simmons being an LMD, that was a fear for sure. Yeah. But the things that she was saying seemed like a very personal, like, psychological fear of Elena's.
Yeah, for sure. That's true.
So, I don't know. I feel like it would have fit, but maybe they just didn't have time for it.
Yeah, they probably just had to cut it for time. Anyway. But we saw it. It was there.
Yeah. So the episode introduced a fear dimension, which Whedon said that it was added to keep the team together and have them only facing their internal demons, not to have some outside threat. It was more about a pressure cooker featuring the characters. While Bell said that it was also added as a way for the production crew to do greatest hits without just doing clips of, wow, remember when? It was a way to remind the audience of people and things the characters dealt with in the past and who they have become. And with respect to Coulson, it really questioned everything that has happened for the last 100 episodes.
True. Very true. Yeah, I'm glad that they weren't just like sitting around drinking coffee being like, hey, you remember when hey May, you remember when your ex-husband turned into a giant monster?
That was crazy.
That sucks,
dude.
Oh my god. Yeah, it was smart. Very good ideas. Anyway, so Fitz says that he thinks he can fix it, but it might require someone to sacrifice themselves. And
Ron, no!
Not me, not Hermione, Coulson. Anyway, as he says someone might need to sacrifice themselves, he turns to Deke, who says, no fucking way. Deke babbles on about how he just got to the place that has ice cream and sunshine and orange scented stuff, and he's not ready to give it up yet. Plus, he already sacrificed himself to get them all here, which is true. I do think he pretty well redeemed himself for all the shit that he pulled on the lighthouse. Fitz says, once Deke is finally done, Fitz says, I wasn't asking you to. I just needed your belt buckle. With the gravitonium in Deke's belt buckle, he may be able to create a gravity force strong enough to stitch the rip back together. But someone will have to bring it down there, and there's a chance they could get sucked into the fear dimension or get killed by the manifestation of their fear in the process. And Coulson says that he is willing to take that risk. So then May, Fitz, and Daisy follow Coulson and ruin his dramatic exit. And they tell them how he can't be the one to sacrifice himself. May and Daisy argue over which one of them is expendable enough, and then Coulson finally cuts them off and says none of them are expendable. I do like that Fitz was not offering. He was like, I just proposed. I'm making the thing. I'm not going down there.
Yeah. Fitz is like, I got shit to do, man.
Guys. Anyway, so Coulson says none of them are expendable. He says that Daisy has to be the one to lead S.H.I.E.L.D. And Daisy, once she gets past the part where she's like, what are you talking about? She yells at him that there is no S.H.I.E.L.D. May is near permanently injured, allegedly. Is that true? I don't know. Mac is seconds away from quitting again. Yo-Yo is their next strongest fighter, and she was literally cut to pieces. And Fitzsimmons have already lost each other for the sake of saving the world too many times. So who exactly is she leading? And Coulson tries to yell back that no one is quitting, but then he starts to lose consciousness and he passes out.
Been there.
Have you?
Yeah.
So then Coulson is awake. And he meets with Deke alone. They're sending Deke out on an errand to the surface, since he technically doesn't exist yet. And Deke promises not to get arrested again, and then he starts to apologize to Coulson, or I guess offer condolences or something. But Coulson cuts him off and says, just get the goods, and I'll be here when you get back. And then he hands Deke some sunglasses, which seems significant. But then he wasn't wearing them for the whole episode, so I don't know. Coulson joins the rest of the team, waiting for him in the control room. It's a family meeting. And Simmons starts telling them Coulson's prognosis, which is not good. And this was a very emotional scene.
Definitely.
Coulson finally tells them that when he made the deal with Ghost Rider, it burned through all of the Cree blood in him from Tahiti that was keeping him alive. So he's basically been slowly dying ever since. Simmons says that at any point his heart could just stop beating. Daisy is beyond mad that he didn't tell them any of this. They could have found a way to save him. He could have been saved from the same thing that brought Tess back to life in the future if he had just told them what was going on. But he says that he didn't want to go through that again. Daisy says that he makes life and death decisions for them all the time, but then he couldn't give them the same courtesy, and then she storms out of the room. And as Coulson follows her, May says that he went about this wrong. He's putting too much on Daisy today. And everybody's crying, and I was crying.
I was crying.
What a moment. Oh my god.
The episode revealed that Coulson is dying due to the Ghost Rider burning the Cree blood that resurrected him. Whedon said that Coulson came to terms with his death, and that it's something that he actually had to come to terms with a long time ago when he was discovering the Tahiti Project and everything that had been done to him, and felt the character doesn't want to go through any of that again. He's ready for nature to take its course. People can sense from everybody else in the episode that they're not as willing to let it go as he seems to be. Some of that will play out. What happens, people will have to wait and see. But he seems as much at peace with it as you can be, considering there's so much he's done in a world that thinks he's dead. Though he also felt Coulson isn't excited for it.
Yeah. I think in the scene where he and May are talking, I think he gets to kind of clarify that, and I'm glad that he was able to. Because I feel for him, and like, he already got his, like, he was already dead, you know?
Yeah.
So, like, this is all borrowed time to for lack of a better word, and so like
I was gonna say lanyap.
Yeah.
This is extra.
He's already gotten to do more than he should have been able to, you know? And so it makes sense that he would be like, I can be done, you know? When it's my time, it can be my time, and I'm okay with that. So Coulson finds Daisy, and she says that she can't do what he's asking of her. She says that he found her alone in an alley, and he gave her a home, a purpose, a belief. And while he says that she's always been capable of more than she thinks, she says that that was because of him. She believed in him, and he believed in her. She says that Coulson is the symbol. He is S.H.I.E.L.D. There is nothing without him. I thought that he was going to die in this episode. I was like, he's having like a goodbye moment with everybody. I can't do this.
No, not quite yet. I won't spoil it, but not quite yet.
Okay.
But when first of all, when she said that there's nothing without him, my first thought was, and I hate to make this all about me, but who am I supposed to talk to?
Yeah.
What am I supposed to do if there's no you?
Yeah.
For people who may not know, which if you're listening to this podcast, how can you not know? Hello? That's a quote from Soon You'll Get Better by Taylor Swift. It's about her mom having cancer, and it's really heart-wrenching.
Yeah.
If you have the emotional bandwidth, I definitely recommend a listen because it's a beautiful song,
gorgeous.
But it's rough.
Yeah.
It's very hard for me to listen to for obvious reasons.
Yeah. So Yo-Yo wakes up from a nightmare, and looks down at her arms. I'm assuming that her nightmares are just reliving the moment of them getting cut off over and over, which is horrific.
Yeah.
And Simmons is beside her and explains that the medicine that they're giving her makes her drowsy, but it's unfortunately not a very peaceful sleep. But then her tone shifts, and she says that Yo-Yo has caused enough suffering, and then she tries to smother Yo-Yo with a pillow. She doesn't have any arms to fight back.
Yeah, that's, oh my god, it made me, like,
horrible.
I tensed up. I felt like I couldn't breathe.
Yeah. Oh my god. And then Mac and Fitz and the real Simmons come in just in time to punch LMD Simmons' face off, fully off, and then shoot her into smoke. Horrible. And on the only bright side is that these fear demons are pretty easy to get rid of. And you don't have to be like in super close contact either, which is great. But oh my god. And then I loved Fitz with his little finger. He was like, we need to close the rift now. It's getting way too dangerous in here.
Oh, Papa Fitz.
So cute.
Or should I say, Papa Fitz.
Papa, ew!
We'll get to
it. Putting that out of my mind. So Deke has reached the surface, and it is crawling with military while he eats a popsicle. I'm so happy for him getting to have ice cream and popsicles. He tries to call someone named Fiona on a payphone, which I don't remember who Fiona is, but the name sounded familiar. Anyway.
I don't know either. I feel like The name did sound familiar, and my first thought was like, oh, is he like calling like Fitz and Simmons' parents to be like, hey, just to let you know they're getting married?
Wait, what's Fitz's mom's name?
I don't know. I don't remember.
Fiona sounds Scottish.
Yeah. Are you just thinking that because of Shrek?
Well, it didn't hurt. Anyway, Fiona doesn't answer. And then he's like, can I talk to a person? A real person? He's getting to experience life in America.
Isn't Earth, and specifically America, beautiful?
Incredible. Anyway, so while he's doing that, General Hale is talking with the small town cops about Daisy and Deke. Why the fuck would Deke give them his real name? I know he doesn't exist yet, but like, what? That's his real name. What are you doing?
Now he's got a record. He doesn't exist, and the only thing on his record is his arrest.
Anyway, so the cop agrees to hand over the security footage of Daisy and allows Hale to search the cell that Deke was in. Deke gets the groceries, or whatever the fuck he was getting, and then he does bump into some guy who looks at him for way too long. And, like, I know Deke is pretty, but damn, social decorum, please. I actually don't even know why they looked at each other for that long.
I think it was just to make us nervous. Like, oh, look, they're looking for Deke, and that guy might recognize him.
They might recognize this guy that they'd never met before, who doesn't exist. Anyway, so May finds Coulson sitting alone. God, is he dying today? He's having a goodbye moment with everyone. It's okay. Me from 2 hours ago. May asks if this is the reason that they took a step back in their relationship. And not that this isn't like, not that I wouldn't understand this being a reason to step back from your relationship, but also they had some pretty valid things that took priority.
Yeah.
But Coulson says that he didn't want May to waste her time on another lost cause, which makes me want to give him a hug really bad. May says that she decides who she wastes her time on. Thank you very much. And then she asks why Coulson is so willing to roll over instead of fight this time. He says that he already got a second chance, and he was able to change a few lives with it. So he doesn't want to be greedy. He wants to set the team up for success for the future so that they'll be prepared to go on without him. May says that this is more than a team, and he knows that. Coulson says that he has made his peace with dying, but that doesn't mean that he's suicidal, necessarily. He's not looking forward to it, and he has every intention of coming back up from the basement when he's done. And then he asks if May wants to help him put on the outfit that Fitz made because it's super sexy. And it actually was.
Yeah, it
was kind of hot.
I was expecting like a full-on hazmat suit, and it was just like, it was pretty normal clothes, was it not?
Yeah. He had like the helmet thing.
Yeah.
But otherwise it was like maybe coveralls with a jacket.
Yeah.
Basically. He looked good. But I am glad to know that Coulson is, he's not trying to like shorten his life by any means, but he is okay with whatever is to come, you know?
Yeah.
So Fitz gets Coulson ready, and then they go over the plan. Coulson needs to get to the rift, turn the thing on, and then throw it in and get the hell out of Dodge. He cannot be close to the rift once the gravitonium is activated, or he could get crushed or sucked into the other dimension, which is horrible. And then plus, he'll also have to dodge all of the fear demons. Not just his own, but all of them. Good luck!
And not to interrupt, but this is the part of the episode where Coulson makes Fitz promise to do the thing that they talked about.
Oh, yeah.
Which is Mary Simmons. And Fitz is like, oh no, that's not important right now. Like, we've got other things going on. It's just symbolic. And Coulson says something like, symbols are important. Institutions are important. People need something to believe in.
Yeah. I knew that he was talking about marriage at that point, but I did not know it was coming so soon.
I was so excited that we were finally at this episode.
I bet. So, while Coulson heads down the elevator alone, the rest of the team watches his helmet feed from the control room.
So Coulson uses the phrase 5x5. 5x5 is a radio communications expression that means loud and clear.
Oh, cute. I wonder why.
I don't know, but I also know that 5x5 is also like a Buffy thing.
Oh.
Like they say that on Buffy a few times, I'm pretty sure.
Interesting. Anyway, so they try to watch his feed, but the feed and the comms go out after only seconds of him leaving the elevator. So Coulson is alone, and the rest of them are just going to have to wait and see. And then he sees Mike Peterson.
Whedon said that the writers ended up getting exactly who we wanted in featuring in Mike Peterson / Deathlock, with Bell stating that the beautiful thing about J. August Richards returning as Mike Peterson is that was the character's first case as S.H.I.E.L.D. Hold on. With Bell stating that the beautiful thing about J. August Richards returning as Mike Peterson is that was the character's first case as S.H.I.E.L.D. agents. It really launched the show, and the fact that he came back as both Mike Peterson and as Deathlock was a lot of fun for the writers. And Tantarowan stated that it was a way to bring it full circle.
Yeah. That was cool. It was a good... It made everything so much more believable for it to be the first person, you know. So, Mike is not attacking Coulson, but he starts trying to convince Coulson that everything that has happened to him since Loki stabbed him has been a dream. Which is terrifying. He says that Coulson is coding in an OR somewhere right now, and that everything that he's been through since then, Tahiti, the S.H.I.E.L.D. team, the framework, time travel, has all just been his brain trying to combine his own memories with the life that he would never get to live. This is obviously his fear demon. Clearly. But Coulson isn't sure, so he doesn't shoot him.
Which is funny because, like, I know that it's like a plot device, and I know why he doesn't shoot him immediately. But, like, he doesn't believe him, and he obviously knows that this isn't Mike because Mike is Deathlock now.
Right.
So why doesn't he just shoot?
Just go. I don't know.
But when Mike Peterson's recreation is talking to Phil Coulson, he uses several phrases that Coulson himself used when talking to the real Mike Peterson during the two's confrontation at the end of the pilot. Namely, "It matters who you are," and "the good ones, the real deal." Mike also tells Coulson that, above all, he wants a chance to be a hero. Pilot ends with Mike being incapacitated after telling Coulson, "I could, be a hero."
Oh, Mike. And then he gets to be one.
Yeah.
So back at the control room, while they're waiting, Daisy gets frustrated that there isn't any kind of backup plan, and that nobody else can go down there to help Coulson because he'll just think that they're a demon and shoot them. And then she takes a very low blow at Fitz when he says that risking one life is better than risking two, and she says, "This isn't Hydra, Leopold." Daisy, I know we are frustrated and scared.
Yeah, not to make excuses for that low blow, but she is having a really bad day.
Yeah.
But then so is everyone else.
Yeah. We all love Coulson, Daisy. But just then, obviously, a Quinjet approaches and someone requests permission to land.
And I said, 313? Shield Team 313? You gotta be kidding me. That's an Easter egg.
For Taylor Swift or for S.H.I.E.L.D.? Or Marvel?
Both.
Okay.
No, it's I was saying it's a Taylor Swift Easter egg because it's 313 backwards and forwards.
Yep.
It's 313.
That's true.
And then 31 is just 13 backwards.
Yeah. Yep.
So it could be 31-3 or 313.
It could be whatever you want.
It could be whatever you want.
So Daisy and May run out to the underwater hangar and are greeted by Deke and his ragtag team of ex-S.H.I.E.L.D. employees, including the real Mike Peterson and that agent that I always forget his name. I think they said it Davis. Yeah. They said Davis later. Fear Mike tells Coulson that he must be real because he's not trying to take Coulson's device from him. And then he turns to the rift and he says, "Look, you're literally walking into the light right now. Let's do it together." Which is an insane thing to say. And Coulson stops and says that he doesn't want to go with him. So then Fear Mike gets really mad and scary. But before he can attack, real Mike shows up and shoots his head off.
The episode features prominent references to previous seasons, including past characters and events, with J. August Richards reprising his role as Deathlock from earlier seasons in a guest appearance.
Yeah. We love him.
I was so excited to see him again.
And I love that his first line is, "Go pick up your doodad, Coulson." Mike starts shooting all the other fear demons that are appearing while Coulson gets his doodad and turns it on. There's Lash and Hive and the roaches from the future. I think that's your line that's not highlighted.
Oh, whoops.
That's okay.
Let me highlight it. Well, I don't need to highlight it. The antagonists Lash and Hive also returned from earlier seasons as illusions created by the Fear Dimension, though the actors were uncredited.
Were the actors there?
No, I feel like they were probably CGI.
It looked very CGI. It did not look like real people at all. Anyway. So then Coulson lets the gravitonium device float toward the rift, and he and Mike struggle
Trouble.
And he and Mike struggle to keep from being sucked in. It disappears, and Coulson finally sits up in Mike's lap and asks if he's real. Please be real. And Mike says, would that make this less awkward? And Coulson says, yeah, it would, actually.
So, before we get to this part, on November 22nd, 2017, before the season premiered, Jeff Loeb announced that the series' 100th episode would include a significant event for the series.
Jeff! What a tease! Okay, so Coulson meets back up with Fitz and Deke in the elevator, and Deke gives us a wonderful comic relief monologue, very much needed in this episode. Jesus Christ.
And he pulls out some Zima.
Yeah. Just cause. We see why he likes citrus so much, though.
Yeah. Aww.
It was cute. Fitz keeps asking Coulson questions as he puts on a blazer. Oh my god. And then Coulson finally stops him and says, Fitz, are you stalling? Because the elevator stopped like a minute ago. Why does the elevator not open when it stops? Anyway, so Coulson straightens Fitz's collar. He doesn't have a tie. But okay. And says that it's going to be great. Oh my god. And then the elevator door opens to the forest. And not Mac filming Fitz's entrance on his phone. He's filming the whole time. I loved it.
Here comes the groom. Here comes the groom.
I do love that Fitz was the one like walking down the so-called aisle.
I know, right?
And that like Coulson is like giving him away. Very cute, very cute. And then Simmons is wearing the only wedding dress at River's End secondhand store.
My actual dream wedding dress.
It was
like,
beautiful.
This is one of those things where I don't know what came first, the chicken or the egg. But literally, like, that's exactly what I want in a wedding dress.
It's very, like, simple and, like, it's not, like, I don't know, it wasn't, like, crazy formal, and it's, like, kind of vintage looking. But not like too casual, you know.
Yeah. And I like that it has sleeves. Too many wedding dresses don't have sleeves, and I'm very like uncomfortable with not with my armpits, but like more like with my arms touching my sides. Like I need a layer of fabric there.
Valid. I like that. And then unfortunately, Deke could not find Fitz a kilt, but they made do. And then I put some
keyboard smashes,
key smash on here because I pause each scene at the end of the scene to write what just happened, and so I paused at the part where Deke was talking about the wedding rings, and I was like. So that's what happened there.
So the wedding scene at the end of the episode was filmed in a very remote location in the Placerita Canyon State Park.
It was beautiful.
It was.
The little waterfall and everything.
Yeah. Tantaroan said that the final scene in which Fitz and Simmons are married was included because the creators, after 100 episodes, felt a necessity to do it, which Bell supported by stating that while writing the episode, they sat down and thought, as fans, what are the kind of things they would want to see? Part of that is paying homage to where we've come from. Part of that is a couple of oh my god moments, and something looking toward the future that is hopefully something emotional.
And Fitzsimmons! Fitzsimmons!
Yes!
I think they did a great job with the fan service without being too over the top with it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, so Coulson officiates the fastest wedding in history, which can he officiate weddings?
I feel like that's why they were saying it was just symbolic, because there's no one there who can officiate it.
Well,
so I don't think they're legally married, but they also legally don't exist, I'm pretty sure.
True. But, like, I don't know, like, pilots can officiate emergency weddings, right? And, like, ship's captains and stuff. Maybe...
I don't know.
Maybe the director of S.H.I.E.L.D. has special privileges like that.
By the power vested in me by S.H.I.E.L.D.
Which doesn't exist. Anyway, so yeah, fastest wedding in history, just in case the world ends before they can finish. And while they read their Simmons' very beautiful vows. I was a little, I guess Fitz has professed his love in a lot of different ways. But I would have been disappointed.
I know. Yeah.
I don't deserve
if
you.
I had written down my vows.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I had written down my vows and I had got, I'm the luckiest man on any planet, I've been like, I know. What else?
Hello? You didn't put any effort into this? Which, he was trying to stitch close a portal that ripped through space-time.
So maybe we're expecting a little much from him.
I guess. But also, he had 80 years of being frozen to think about it. Ugh. I already have my vows written, and I'm not even engaged. So, whatever. Anyway.
Cute.
I'm ready to go. Anyway, so while they're reading their vows, saying their vows, Deke and Mike are having a little wedding conversation, which was very cute, talking about, are you on the bride's side or the groom's side? I kind of know both of them. And then Deke confirms that he found the wedding rings for them. He says he had to search for one small enough to fit Fitz's little boy fingers. I don't know why that was so funny, but and then he says that the one he found for Simmons reminded him of his mom's wedding ring. Oh my god! And then I didn't hear the rest of that sentence. So I was like...
So you fully thought...
I thought,
yeah,
this is their kid right in front of them. I was like, Deke did meet his father on the surface. It was Fitz. Best twist ever. Ignore the 80-year difference.
So Whedon said that the episode was written for those people who had watched them all. Whedon also said that the episodes reveal that Deke is Fitz and Simmons' grandson was put because it was a way of not just to celebrating the fact that they're getting married, but of showing that this isn't just the hope of a happy ending. There actually is one already attending the wedding. Aww. To the writer, it was not just a cool reveal, but a way of seeing their love manifested.
That's sweet.
Yeah. So they're Fitz and Simmons. Deke is Fitz and Simmons' grandson.
Yes.
Not their son.
Not their son.
Their daughter's child.
Very cute. Very cute. Because what he said was, it reminded me of my mom's ring that she used to wear. I think it was my grandma's.
Yeah.
I did not hear that part. I was too excited.
Fair.
Anyway.
That's why you have me.
That's why I have you. Yes. I guess we'll still do it.
Yeah, we gotta.
Okay. So now it's time for the post-content content. Never mind. There is none. But the music during the credits was so just like that, like piano lullaby. It was so gorgeous. I loved it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
What an episode.
Crazy.
Overall thoughts?
No thoughts. All the thoughts. Every thoughts. All in my brain. What about you?
So I've got a couple fun facts. Thanks to it being the 100th episode and the episode where Fitzsimmons get married, there were a lot of fun facts to choose from.
Good, finally.
And I pulled all of them. So Whedon and Tancharoen described the episode as an emotional game changer that would affect the season to the point that nothing will be the same after it. While Bell said the episode features a device that grows out of the current storyline and plot that allows people to look back on the series' early seasons, as well as turn over a couple cards that people will be excited about, and then also celebrate the show and people on it. And Loeb said the episode ends with stories that perhaps viewers didn't even know we haven't revealed.
Oh. That's ominous.
Yeah. But, I mean, they're talking about the Deke reveal.
Oh, okay.
Because, I mean, you called that he was going to be someone's kid.
True.
But you just didn't know who.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought it was going to be...
But I remember,
Hunter.
like, when I was watching it, I was like, I had no idea. Yeah. I was like, he's who? He's what?
Fuck?
And then Marvel released 3 roundtable discussions to promote the episode. The roundtables were hosted by Patton Oswalt, who has portrayed the Koenigs in the series. The first discussion was released on March 8th, 2018, featuring Marissa Tancharoen and the female cast members. The second discussion, released on March 9th, featured the full cast, and the third, which debuted on March 12th, featured Oswalt with the executive producers. The 3 roundtables premiered on Marvel.com and also are available on both Marvel and the series' social media platforms, as well as Marvel's YouTube channel.
Aww. I love that Patton still gets to be in everything.
Yeah.
Anyway. Wow.
Anyway. So, that concludes our episode on Season 5, Episode 12, The Real Deal.
Yeah!
Next time, we'll be covering Season 5, Episode 13, Principia, so stay tuned for that.
Okay, bye!
Bye, love you!